We finally got the deck put together. We have exactly 40 cards in the main, obviously 15 side, 15 extra. So we're going to go ahead and go through this. So as you remember, for the main deck, we could only use one archetype, so Lyrilusc, right? And we could only use board breakers. So the deck is only going to consist of that, as well as the extra deck. We could only use 3 types of extra deck cards. So we had to use 3. So we ended up choosing XYZs, Fusion, and Link for this deck. And then the side deck is obviously only going to be either board breakers or like staples. Right, so we're going to have, we basically maxed out on the Lyrilusc monsters. So we're going to have 3 of the Celestine Wagtail right here. This is the one that when it's special summoned, it can add a Lyrilusc spell or trap. We're going to have 3 of the Cobalt Sparrow. This is the one when it's special summoned, I can add 1 level 1 winged beast monster from deck to hand. We're going to have 3 of the Turquoise Warbler. This one can special summon itself if I don't control any monsters, and then if it is special summoned, then it can special summon a Lyrilusc monster from my hand or graveyard. We have 3 of the Barrel Canary. This one can target a Lyrilusc in my graveyard, special summon both it and the card in the graveyard. So itself and the card in the graveyard. And then the final one is the Sapphire Swallow. Basically, this one, if I control a winged beast, I can special summon both it and 1 level 1 winged beast from my hand. So these are the, how many cards we have here? 15 monsters in the deck. Everything else, and I mean everything else, is going to be spell cards in the main deck. So these are the monsters that we're trying to get to, and I'll talk about all the cards about how our win con is going to be. Our other Lyrilusc cards are going to be the Lyrilusc Bird Call. So I consider this card at 3, but it's only a once per turn. So I want to draw it, but it's not like fully necessary. It helps me out. It can also be searched. It's only one of 2 of the searchers that we're playing in the main deck. So if we draw it, we can, if we don't draw it, we can search it. And our second option of a search card is going to be the Bird Strike. So basically what Bird Call does is you can take 1 Lyrilusc monster from your deck, either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. Then you can special summon a Lyrilusc monster from your hand with a different name. And then what Bird Strike does is if you control a Lyrilusc monster, you only need to control 1. You can negate the effects of your opponent's monsters that they currently control. So it's basically Dark Ruler no more, and the only stipulation is that I have to control a Lyrilusc monster, which is the only monsters we're playing in the main deck. So this card can basically just shut off my entire opponent's board. And if I haven't told you guys yet, we are playing Board Breaker going second deck. So this is going, we're built fully to go second. We have some cards in our extra deck that are going to help us break boards, as well as in our main deck. And then our side deck, we have cards that can help us go second, as well as some cards that help us go first. Okay, so continuing on, these are more kind of like engine cards still. So these kind of are engine. Because this one can at least be searched, but it is kind of also a board breaker. Swallow's Nest is a tribute, a winged beast monster. 1 face-up winged beast monster, and then special summon a winged beast monster from your deck with the same level as the monster on the field. So it doesn't say it can't have the same name, but what is so good about this card is, let's say we do something like we summon out the Wagtail, we special summon this, or, really any of them. We special summon the Wagtail to grab a Lyrilusc spell or trap. We special summon the Cobalt to special add a level 1 from our deck to our hand, or we special summon the Warbler to go and special summon 1 from our hand or graveyard. What this can do is can help us dodge hand traps like Valor and Imperm by using this, and then we still get another body and we still get the effects of these cards, right? And you could even, tag it out for the exact same card. So it's a good card to kind of do that to get another body on field, and it can even get a body into graveyard, because that will help out our barrel canary, right? So next we have 2 swallows cowrie. This one is a little different. This one can tribute from hand or face up field, right? So it can do kind of the same thing, but this one adds one to our hand instead of special summoning it. I went 2 and 2 just because this one is not once per turn. So I considered doing another one, but I liked, and this one only is once per turn. But the difference is if we've already summoned, right, and we don't have any, we need to get to a different Lyrilusc monster, then we can use this one from our hand. Whereas this one, we specifically already have to have monsters on field, and if for some reason our opponents already cleared those monsters, and now we really need to get into another Lyrilusc monster, this can help us get into that. And then also for engine cards, instant fusion, you'll see in a second, or actually I'll just show you now, it doesn't matter. We have the 1 fusion card because we did have to play 3 different types. I mean, this is a good card anyway. Really the only thing we're worried about is it's a level 1 winged beast Lyrilusc monster. That's the only thing. It's just another monster to get on the board to help us, you know, keep going forward. Nothing else on this card. Once per turn, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent equal to this card's level. So I mean, even so, it's not going to gain the extra because we're not fusion summoning it. We're just using this card. I mean, we're not using multiple material. I think it gains levels or something equal to its fusion material, but we're using this to get it out. So that's another way to cheat it out. 1 for 1, just because we're playing so many level 1s, it's like, why would we not? These are kind of engine cards because they're draw cards. Pot of Desires, we're paying 2 of these. Banish 10, draw 2. You can only use one once per turn. But again, I feel like that is more than good enough to get me into what the cards I need. So these are kind of like our basically like engine, like help us get our monsters onto the field. We have Board Breaker Wise. We'll start out with 2 talents. Considered 3. I like it at 2 of. If I draw it, I draw it. If I, you know, we could even draw it off of Desires. But I didn't want to go too crazy and have 3 and have 1 that's dead in my hand. Next, we're gonna go with 3 Raigeki because, I mean, why not destroy all monsters your opponent controls? One less thing that I have to worry about. We're going 2 Lightning Storm. Again, we're going second, so we're trying to break our opponent's board, right? So even if we draw these 2 together, we go Lightning Storm first. If they have back row, we'll just try to take them out the back row. If they don't, we'll try to take out the monsters. They'll probably try to negate it. Then we have this as follow-up. Same kind of deal with Harpy's Feather Duster, but Harpy's Feather Duster is at 1, so that's obvious. And then we are going to play 3 droplets. Obviously, just more ways to get off monsters. I mean, get monster effects off, and then it plays well with the Cowrie and the Swallow because, you know, we can activate these and then we can chain droplets and then we can send these to the graveyard and get that extra free bonus body. These are proxies, by the way. I have my other ones in another deck at the moment, but those are proxies at the moment in case they look weird. If you guys want to know how I make proxies, go ahead and let me know in the comments down below, and I'll show you guys. We do have 1 Called by the Grave. Just, you know, we're going second, so we don't want to get hit by like a droll or, you know, a well-timed card if we don't have to worry about it. And then this, we have 2 more cards, so that's 38 cards. And then the last one is Life Hack. So this is really our win con. We are playing a 3rd one in the sideboard if I feel like I'm not getting to this card enough. But basically what this card says is target 1 face-up card on the field. Any damage your opponent takes this turn is halved. Also, your opponent's, that monster's attack becomes equal to your opponent's current life points. So if once I use this, what I'm hoping is that my opponent's life points, so it doesn't really matter what they're at, but if they're at, let's say 8,000, right? Whatever monster I targeted, which is going to be my Nightingale, right? Because Nightingale can attack directly up to the amount of material that are attached to it, right? So Nightingale's attack is going to become 8,000, right? And let's say I only need 2 material on this, right? Because I'm going to be doing half damage, but it doesn't matter because I can attack twice with this for 4,000 each and end the game, right? So I'm doing everything else to ensure that there's nothing to stop me from attacking twice with this off of Life Hack. That's why I have the third one, the side deck, because like I want to draw into this card, but I don't know if I want to put it at 3 because then I might draw into 2 and then 1, and then it's just kind of, you can only use each effect once per turn. It also has an effect in the graveyard. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one face-up monster on the field. Any damage, it's the same thing, but also that monster's attack becomes equal to my current life points until the end of this turn. So there's nothing stopping me from making 2 Nightingales, right? Both with 2 material, and then making 1 8,000, and then making 1 equal to my life points, and then attacking with both, right? So this card has, can do a lot. This card by itself with Nightingale can end the game as long as I have enough everywhere else to ensure that my opponent can't stop me from attacking for game. But we have the Bird Strike, which is a searchable card to negate all my opponent's monsters, negate all my opponent's monsters here, right? I can rip my hand, take a monster from my opponent that's annoying. I can destroy all my opponent's monsters, destroy all their spells and traps, destroy all their traps, and that's basically, should be enough to get me to the point where I can push for game. All right, so as we were just talking about, we were playing 2 assembled Nightingale. So basically, gains 200 for each material attached to it. That also has a this card can attack directly. While this card has material, it can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of material it has. And then once per turn, quick effect, I can detach a material for this until the end of this turn. Lyrilusc monsters I control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Also, you take no battle damage. So that can come up as well. So it's just a strong card. It's good going first and second. And it's really my ultimate win con. We're only doing 1 Recital Starling. Basically, this one needs 2+ level 1 monsters, and then you can detach a material to add a level 1. This is really like, I don't even want to go into this unless I have to, and if I do have to, I'm only going to need 1. And then if I do end up having to go first, then I'm probably going to need this. So that's why we're just playing the 1. This is another card, the Ensemble Robin. Just another option to really just play as a 1-of. Promenade Thrush is good because it's also 2+ level 1 monsters, but you can detach a material from this and then target 1 spell or trap your opponent controls and shuffle it into the deck. So this can get rid of a spell or trap card if we have one sitting there that's annoying us, right? Then obviously we talked about the Independent Nightingale to get off of the instant fusion. We have 1 Fucho. It's just a really good card. If we have to go first, we can literally just make this. It's unaffected by their card effects. Sorry, I hit the camera for a second. In the quick effect, you can detach 2 material for the rest of this turn. This card cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, you take no battle damage involving this card. So literally, it's unaffected by other card effects. And you can also take no battle damage from when I detach the 2 materials. So like, it's just a strong card to make going first. It's good to have those options. Again, because I really only need the Nightingale for going second, so I can put a lot of work into my going first cards. A couple more going first cards. We have the F0 Utopic Future Slash to go into the F0 Utopic Draco Future. We do have a Downward Magician right here. Obviously, we're going to use this if we attack with Nightingale and we can't get enough to get to game. Then we'll go Downward into Zeus, right? And then one more card, just, this card could get us to the point where it's just enough to get us the game, right? We can go into a Superstar Slayer Typhon, and like one option with this card is to go into like a Nightingale, because we need to use the effect, and then we can go into, after we've comboed all the way, we can just go here, Star Slayer Typhon. And if Nightingale isn't enough to push for game, then this could just be that last little push that we need right here. So, because we're not going to need to summon anymore after that. So that Typhon can definitely come up in this deck, especially with it being a go second deck. Right? And then our last 3 cards in the extra deck are just, this is a great card to play in here. Relinquish Enema. Can get a monster off my opponent's board if they, you know, had to put something here, or if they had to put something over in this zone. Like, you can get a monster off the board. Plus, it can get us a level 1 into the graveyard, again, if we need one there, or if it's just going to help us out to have one there. Just to help us, you know, push for game, or break a board if we need to. One Nightmare Unicorn. You could easily have this be a SP Little Knight if you have one, but I don't have an SP Little Knight. So yeah. And then the last card is a Borrelsword Dragon. This could also be a Access Code Talker if you would like, right? But then with that, you would have to then definitely have the Unicorn. You know, and it's an extra level of disruption, but this card I feel like will make it easier to attack for game, right? If we need to go down this road. So that's why I went Borrelsword Dragon instead of the access code. So for the side deck, we are going to go with 2 Lava Golems. I consider 3. I figured 2 would be good enough. We do have a lot of like monster removal already in the deck, and as well as we but I wanted it for like if there was like monsters that were unaffected or couldn't be destroyed or something like that, just another level of disruption. And we don't really need our normal summon, especially with all of the Swallows cards to help us get like different cards into our hands and get cards into the graveyard and whatnot. So we don't really need our normal summon. So this is a good card to have. We're playing 1 Change of Heart and 2 Mind Control. Again, another way just to get monsters off of my opponent's board that could be pesky, as well as these cards can, you know, help me get that little push for game if I need to use my opponent's monsters to attack. Actually, this one, they can't declare an attack, but I can also use whatever I take with this to go into Nightmare Unicorn, right? So that still kind of works out. We do have the 3rd life hack in here. We do have 2 Twin Twisters as an option. Again, it's getting the Lyrilusc monsters into the graveyard isn't always bad for us, and then this just gives us another option to get rid of spell and traps if we're playing like a heavy trap deck or something like that in the back row, and we want to make sure that we have cards to get rid of it that are also quick plays. And it can pop 2 cards, right? Because if they do like an anti-spell or something like anything like a skill drain, something like that, or a 1-for-1, you know, having this can really make sure that we get those cards off the board. And then that is going to be it for our backup going second cards. First one is going to be Lyrilusc Bird Sanctuary. Basically, you can target 2 winged beasts Z's monsters you control, attach one of the monsters to the other, and then transfer its materials to the other. And then if you have a monster with 3, a Z's monster with 3 or more materials attached to it, you can draw 1 card. So this is something that I can trade in for the Bird Strike, the one that negates all monster effects when I'm going first. And then I can search for this if I already have the Bird Call, right? So there's a Bird Sanctuary, the Bird Call, the Bird Strike. The Strike is the one I would sub out for this one, side out. And then also, just as an extra draw card, we have Wing Recital if we're going first. Basically, if you control, if all monsters you control are winged beasts and you control at least 2 with different names, you can pay 600 life points and draw 2. So it's a nice, easy draw 2. We're just playing it a 1-of because it is a 1-of. Now, this is something I consider playing in the main board, but I decided just to side it because I liked the quick play ones better. Where art thou? Basically, if you control a level 1 monster, you can add a level 1 monster from your deck to your hand during the end phase of this turn. If you did not normal summon that monster, you take 2,000 damage. And that's after activating this effect. But I'm not worried about the 2,000 damage. If I take it, it's whatever, right? And then especially if I side this in going second, which is a possibility if I feel like I'm just not getting to my monsters enough, I can easily just side this card in, right? And I don't care about taking the 2,000 damage if I'm going second because I'm just trying to end my opponent. I'm not trying to let them have another turn. So, and even if I'm going first, like losing 2,000 damage is completely fine. I'm not going to be too worried about that. And then the last 3 cards for going first are 3 Solemn Judgments, just to have it. I felt like it couldn't hurt to have some Solemn Judgments in there in case I do need to go first, or if like I'm just playing against a deck where there's just no way, only playing board breakers, I'm going to be able to beat this deck, right? So Solemn Judgment can help me out with that. So 7 cards to help me sub in going first. So that is going to be the deck. I'm going to play this at the next locals that I go to, and I am going to let you guys know how it goes. I'm not currently in the situation to like actually record while I'm playing, but maybe in the future at some point in time I will get to that. But right, so we just got back from locals playing with this Lyrilusc deck, so we're going to go ahead and talk about how all of our games went. We're going to talk about the cards in the deck and how they performed for us, and if we would change anything in the deck, and then we will talk about what is going to happen with the wheel for the next round. All right, so round 1 we actually tied. So game 1, I believe we lost the die roll. I can't actually remember, but we were playing a Horus Winged Dragon of Ra deck. So he went first. He set up the there was a continuous spell that allowed any like special summon monsters this turn couldn't attack. So I got Lyrilusc onto the board, but I couldn't attack with it. So because of that, I couldn't go into Zeus, and I was able to go into Draco Future, but then he used the new spell card that tributes and then allows me to tribute. But the thing is, I didn't have anything in hand but 1 level 1. So what I did was I drop blitzed the 2 cards I had on field, including this, including the Future, because it was going to get tributed anyway. I drop blitzed it and sent it and another monster, halved 2 of the attacks of their horse monsters, but he still had enough to push for game because that's all I had. Game 2, I did end up winning that one, and then right after that, it was time. There was no time left. I believe I went second. I was able to just break his board and then do enough damage here, get into Zeus, and then Zeus did enough to get me into another round, another turn. I think it was probably 2 turns before I actually had enough to push for game. And then after that, that was it. In the second round, I actually had a bye. So it was a free win. So at this point, I was 1 win and 1 tie. Into the third round, we played Mermail. And I was actually kind of scared because they were just full comboing because I have nothing. But they only ripped 2 cards out of my hand. I believe it was like a Prosperity. I believe they ripped a Swallow's Nest, or it might have been a Cowrie, and a Desires is what they ripped out of my hand. But then everything else that I had was, I believe, I want to say it was all Lyrilusc monsters, and then I might have drew into. What did I draw into? I can't remember what I drew into, but it was a long fought game. We went back and forth for probably 3 to 4 turns. So it took a while, like almost all the time. And I ended up winning, and then going second against them. They did win the dice roll. They chose to go first. They full comboed. They only ripped 2 cards from my hand, though. I was definitely afraid of playing that deck because they could have easily just ripped the whole thing, and I wouldn't have been able to do anything about it. But yeah, I was able to break the board, and then the game was simplified for a while. But then he just kind of ran out of gas, and then I had all the gas I needed to push and finish the game. And then for game 2, he just ran out of time, and I was able to do damage to seal it off. And then round 4, we played an Unchain. It was Unchain, Evil Twin, Live Twin, and Fiendsmith. So it was kind of like a Fiend toolbox deck. And we really only got through game 1. I mean, he took a while to combo his first combo. And I drew, what did I draw? I draw 2 Canaries and then both of my Tactics Talents. And then I think my last card was Called By in my opening hand. But it actually ended up working out because we drew into a, what did we draw into? What did we draw into? I think we drew into a Warbler, right? Yeah, we drew into a Warbler. And then I was able to special summon. No, what? We drew into something. Anyway, around it, we ended up breaking their board, right? And from that, we spent so much time in game 1, he didn't even have time to combo off in game 2, so I got the win. So I ended up going technically 3 wins. One of those was a bye, and then 1 tie. So no losses. So we are not going to get punished at all. I think for the wins and the losses, so if I go like even, like 2-2 or whatever, in terms of losses or however many rounds it is, if I break even, then nothing happens. If I lose, then I have to take a card. I'll roll a wheel for it because it's the wheel series. So I'll roll a wheel based off of what did I got. So if it was like board breakers, since I got board breakers, I'd roll a wheel of all the board breakers that I specifically played in the main deck, and whichever one it hit, I wouldn't be able to use that for at least 2 wheels worth, right? So no, I wouldn't be able to use it until I can bring it back. And then how I bring cards back is I have to win, so like today. But if I don't have any cards to bring back, since that was the first one, and I technically won more games and I didn't lose any, what we get is we get a respin on the wheel. So basically like how Lyrilusc was our pick, if we get to, we had to get 2 out of, what was it? It was like 2 or 3 hits on Lyrilusc in order for Lyrilusc to be the deck that we chose, or that we had to play with. Once Lyrilusc hit like 2 or 3 and that became the deck, at that point in time I can choose to re-roll, so I can pick a different deck, or so that I can pick instead of all one type of monster or one archetype, I can do change it so that it can end up being something else. Right. So that's how that's going to kind of work. If you guys have any questions about that, let me know in the comments and I'll let you know about that. But let's go ahead and talk about how everything performed in here. So I'm just going to move these out of the way. So honestly, the monsters, right? The monsters performed how they performed. I mean, honestly, I really liked this deck because like it was just easy. Like I just let them combo. I didn't have to worry about hand trapping, and then I just break the board. And like these cards have a lot of gas within them, and I only need a few bodies, and they can keep attaching more materials and grabbing more level 1s, so they can do a decent amount. If there was one more of these, honestly, that did something crazy, or maybe a better like spell card for the deck, I feel like this deck could be really, really nice. But all the monsters, I would max out on all of them if you are going to play this deck, especially going second, definitely going first, but especially going second, like I would still max out on all of them. So we played the 2 bird call. I actually picked up a 3rd one today at locals, but we only had 2, so that's why we played 2. The 2 was honestly fine. We saw it, or we searched it. You could play 3, but it could end up being a brick, and you can search this, especially going second. I mean, this was our other search, but there were points in times where like we had droplets, so we didn't even need to search this. So yeah, I like these at 2. You could play 3, but I like the 2. I did pick up the 3rd just in case. Instant Fusion, didn't use it once, didn't come up. It would have been fine if it did, but it didn't. 1 for 1, again, didn't see it once. Yeah. Swallow's Cowrie, I wasn't able to use this once, but you know, I'm sure it would have been great. Swallow's Nest, I did use once, and this actually helped me. Yeah, this definitely helped me. So I mean, like, because I think the exact thing, the time that I used it, I believe I only used it once. I might have used it twice, but I believe the time was I special summoned this, and I used this to send this, so I could still get this as effect. Yeah, I stopped it from getting impermed by using this, right? Special summon this, use its effect, special summon from hand or grave, chain this once they tried to chain imperm. So I still got my my special summon off of this, as well as I got a special summon from the deck. So I would definitely play this card, especially in this deck, and definitely going second. Talents was great. This card, like I said, that one game I drew 2 of them, and they both helped me out a lot. The first one I took a Nightmare Griffin, so that I was able to go ahead and, you know, use my special summon monsters effects, because the monsters need to be co-linked because of Griffin, right? So talents helped out a lot with that. And then the second one I used as follow-up to take their whatever the Link 3 Unchained was, and then I was able to link off one of their Link 2 level 2s to go into Griffin, so I didn't have to worry about those 2 cards on the field. Yeah, and then it just allowed me to go ahead and push for game after that. Talents is great. I still like Talents at a 2 of. It's just I don't like drawing 2. It's a great card, but I don't like drawing 2. Droplets. I think I used droplets twice, 2 or 3 times. Really only one time that was really relevant. The other time that I used droplet to send like the Utopic Future, it helped, but I still lost that game anyway. So it didn't really do much. I was just doing it because I had nothing else to do. But droplet is a strong card. I just didn't see it all that much outside of those 2 times. Lightning Storm, I didn't see it all. So yeah. Raigeki, I only saw 1 game, and the 1 game that I did see it was against Horus, and it couldn't do anything because they had the continuous spell up. I can't think of the name right now, that stops their Horus monsters from being destroyed by card effect. So yeah, those didn't do anything for me. Heartbeat's Feather Duster I did draw into 1 time and did help me. I drew into this, I think it was probably my 2nd turn. Yeah, and it blew out a back row, and I was able to push for game. So that helped out. This card, I unfortunately did not see once. So it might be like a play at 3. I mean, just because it is such a strong card, and the whole reason that we played this deck going second. So I would probably put this at 3. I don't know if I'm ever going to play this deck again, but you know, I would put these at 3, honestly. The 2 Desires was, I think I resolved it once. I only drew it twice, and then one of the times it was against Mermail, and it got sent to the grave. So yeah, it was fine. And then the 1 Called By, I just feel like Called By is a strong card. It definitely helped me the 2 times that I did use it. Once against the Evil Twin, and the other time was, I can't even remember what it was. I think against the Horus deck. But it did come up. It was helpful, so I would suggest using that. Yeah, all the cards in the main deck for the most part, other than maybe another Bird Call, I can't really say there's anything that I would necessarily change besides maybe a Bird Call or a 3rd life hack in the deck. Let's go ahead and talk about the extra deck. So the 2 Nightingale, the 3rd luckily didn't come up, but it almost came up a few times. It luckily didn't, but it almost did. If I would have had to go into any more grind games, it definitely would have came up. So that's something to think about. This definitely came up, the 1-of. I feel like the 1-of was perfect. Any more than this would have been way too much. I would not, at least going second, for going second decks, I would not do more than that. The 1 Robin, the effect number came up, but just needing a level 1 to go into did come up. This did come up once. This card is great. You know, you can detach and target a spell and trap and shuffle it into the deck. This is a must, I would say, in this deck, especially going second. You know, this was, you know, for the fusion duplication or whatever it was, not duplication. Future, I think I made once or twice. It definitely helped me in my very last game because I had to make this on my first turn. I believe I made this. And then I think I overlaid with Sky Crisis on top of it. I believe. Yeah, I believe so. But it definitely helped me out. This is another, definitely going first or second. Just having this in there as a utility to not be able to be destroyed and it's unaffected is great. Obviously, these 2 cards, they are good to have, again, if I get disrupted and I can't really do that much battle. And even, especially if I've already went through the 1 Zeus, because I'm only playing 1, which is another thing. You could definitely consider playing a second Zeus in this. But yeah, these cards are good to have. They're just good options to have. The Downward, the Zeus, the Crisis. This card is amazing. It's amazing, like, to just, like, at the end of my turn, after I already have Nightingale in the field, maybe after I've already attacked Nightingale, maybe after I've already made Zeus. Well, I did one time accidentally make both of these, and then I realized, oh, I can't use Zeus under this. But it didn't matter anyway because they used some effect. I can't remember what it was that just destroyed this. So it didn't even matter whether I had it on the field or not. But yeah, both these cards are obviously must. I would definitely consider playing honestly a second one of both of these, but definitely a second Zeus, just because, like, you know, your first turn you use Nightingale, you attack, and then you make the first one, and then on the follow-up turn, if you can't finish game, then you can make the second one, right? It's definitely a card I consider putting it to. And then for the links, this card came up a lot. The effect only came up maybe twice, but it was, you know, twice. It was more than none, right? So the effect only came up twice, but just being able to get my level 1s off of the field, especially to activate effects like what is his name? Where is it at? Like Canary, right? You know, at being able to get a level 1 into the grave, and I can activate Canary to special summon this too. Like, yeah, it's definitely a great card in here. It did really well. Nightmare Unicorn only came up once, and it's when I took their the Link 3 from Unchained Monster, and I used the Link 3 plus one of their Link 2s to make this, you know, just to get another monster off their board so I could attack and not have to worry about anything. Yeah, that was the only time this came up. I almost never really had anything to discard, so I don't know if I would play this again, but I mean, it came up, so I guess it's fine. I guess I could have just attacked with the, it wasn't fully necessary the time it came up. I just did it just to do it, but yeah, this card isn't really fully necessary. And then for the Boral Sword Dragon, didn't make it once. I would probably just take this out and put in another Zeus, 100%. If I was going to play this deck again, put in another Zeus, put in maybe even a Sky Crisis. I mean, you could put in a third Nightingale too. Just, you know, take both of these out and just play the one Link. But, you know, I had to play Links, but I would definitely, no matter what, play this card. Even if, you know, you're not locked into playing anything, I would 100% play that. And then for the side deck, the Lava Golems we didn't use once. We didn't see them. The mind controls and change of heart, didn't see those either. Well, we never brought any of these cards in. So that's why we didn't see them. We didn't bring them in. Life hack, I did bring this in one game going second, but I just didn't see it. Twin Twisters, I never put in. I never had a reason to. So those were the going second cards, I would say. The Bird Sanctuary did come up one game where I went first. So my plan was whether I won the dice roll or not, I'm going second, right? For the most part, unless I'm playing a deck that's also going second, but that didn't come up. And then when it changed back around, if I lost and I got to choose, then I would go first, just to kind of throw my opponent off. So that was when that one game where that came up. The Wing Recital, I never saw it. The 2 games that I did go first. The Where Art Thou did come up. One of the games I went first. I only went first, I think, 2 games. And this did come up, and I put it in. And then Solemn Judgment, I totally botched with this card. I should have hit something and I didn't. It came up once in one of those games. So like both of these cards came up, and then this came up for the going first. So yeah, that was the deck. Again, we didn't lose any games, so we don't have to lose anything. And on the next wheel, we'll get a free respin. So thank you guys for watching. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments, and I will see you guys on the next wheel spin or on the next video. See you later.